Here's the mechanism and how it works normally. This is the step up. It keeps count. And the solenoid that would be here would be the reset, which sends it back to 0. This is a close-up of the ratchet mechanism. You can see it grab the next tooth, move on to the following one, while the pawl on this side, to the right, is used to keep the wheel from going backwards after it's located to a new position. When you reset, you see that big post in the background that'll swing around, and the pawls will both be raised out of the way, and the wheel will go back to its 0 position. Notice also that the solenoid doesn't need to be engaged the whole time in order to back up. The wheel is free to turn now. It's a safety feature that makes sure that it gets reset no matter how long the person pushes in the reset bar to start the next game. Once you start clicking, the pawls start to engage again, and the step-up unit starts counting. And then I'll reset. This is what happens when the pull-in solenoid for the count isn't adjusted properly. Here we're going to go up 2. You'll notice also that the stabilizing ratchet, the one that keeps it in position once you've incremented the pawl on the right, is going clear up here to engage. So it's traveling way too far. If this would only travel this far, notice that there's hardly any play in the thing, and it's ready to go get the next tooth on the gear. So you need to adjust the one on the left so it barely pushes it, so that the one on the right grabs hold and not any farther. This is what happens when it goes too far. Notice that it's going clear up here on the tooth on the left, and it's going to push, and now it pushes the tooth. The pawl on the right has to ride up, and if you're not careful, it could actually go 2 steps. It does go 2 steps on the very first one. This is the adjustment screw that we were just moving around to adjust how far the solenoid actually retracts. You want it to only attract as far as required in order to make the sequence on the ratchet, which is about that far. And then there's a lock nut to make sure that once it's in position, you tighten this down. Keeps it from becoming unadjusted. This is a close-up view of the reset mechanism that makes sure that the wheel goes all the way to 0 and then prevents any of the pawls from engaging it until the first click that gets added. So when you reset, this finger is going to come up. It's going to push that lever, disengage both. You'll also notice that this part came in, and now when it goes back to reset, this is going to hold it up and keep it from going all the way so it engages the pawls. Then when you do the first count, all of that stuff moves out of the way. Now the ratchets can engage, and you can start counting up again. Now when you reset, it's going to push it all out. It's going to hang there, and now the wheel can turn freely until you add the first count.